Coastal Carolina's new head football coach, Tim Beck, and a few exciting finishes in Sunbelt hoops. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt. I am your host, Dave Schultz. Tonight's episode of Locked On Sunbelt is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. We did have a few fantastic finishes in Sunbelt basketball on Thursday. We'll get to those in the third segment. But I did have a chance to sit down and talk with new Coastal Carolina head football coach Tim Beck. How he got there. He's had some big-time jobs beforehand, although never a head coaching position in college. And, of course, his first big recruit was getting his quarterback back, Grayson McCall. We have part one and part two of our conversation with Tim Beck, and then we'll get to Sunbelt basketball when we're done with that. Hope you enjoy it. Here is head coach of Coastal Carolina, Tim Beck. Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Honor and a privilege to have the new head coach of Coastal Carolina, Tim Beck, with us. Coach, congratulations on the new gig, and how did it come about?
Well, thank you very much. It just was one of those things that back in 2017, my daughter came down here to play volleyball, and I kind of fell in love with the place then, right? I saw this unbelievable gold mine with great people, great community, great fan support, in an awesome location. And I thought, man, one day I hope to be and pray to be the head football coach there, and God willing, and he just allowed me the blessings to be able to come do that.
Well, it kind of feels like, Joe Moglia had a lot to do with this. This is your first time as a head coach on college. You do have previous head coaching experience in high school. They're kind of following in the footsteps of Joe Moglia a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I've known Joe for a while. Obviously, we worked together when he was getting back into football at Nebraska when I was at the University of Nebraska. So, there was certainly a connection there in terms of having an individual and a great friend, person, mentor involved in the program, involved in the athletics here. But certainly you have President Benson, you have Matt Hogue is the athletic director, great people, and just we kind of all hit it off and formed a great bond, and again, it just kind of worked out.
You have worked at some big time places over the last handful of years. You mentioned Nebraska, but you were the offensive coordinator there, co-offensive coordinator at Ohio State, offensive coordinator at Texas, and offensive coordinator at NC State. My condolences on the Syracuse game. Not really, but tell us about what you learned at all those different places, because those guys are, running different systems.
Yeah, it was interesting that I've been very blessed in my career working for some great head coaches and athletic directors, right, all the way back to when I GA'd with Bill Snyder. I got a chance to really learn a lot, and Bo Pelini, and being around Tom Osborne and Tom Herman and Urban Meyer and Dave Doran and Boo Kerrigan and Gene Davis and just different people that Gene Smith, at Ohio State, just different people that I've been able to watch and learn how to lead, watch and learn to pick up things, good things, bad things along the way, to just apply to kind of, my style and what I think is important, and how to treat people and how to win. I think that's one of the things that my staff and I are here. We're here to be servant leaders to our players, but this is proven. Now, this isn't theory. This isn't, hey, what's supposed to happen. This is what's going to happen. It's been testimony. It's been proven over time, and been very successful at all the programs, and have won no matter where we've been.
We're talking with Tim Beck, new head coach of Coastal Carolina, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. All right, remind us of the timeline, because there's a lot going on right at the end of the season, whether you got a bowl game or there's early signing period. You got to recruit your own players. You're recruiting new players. So Jamie Chadwell takes a job at Liberty. How quickly were you hired? And then when did Grayson McCall go into the portal? And how much did you talk him into coming back out of the portal?
Yeah, so I think there was a lot of speculation in college football that Coach Chadwell was being sought after, and there were probably many different
probably since last year.
Yeah, opportunities for him. So I don't think it came to a shock to the powers to be here that happened. And I think credit to them, did a really good job of knowing that, seeing it, and getting ready for it. Right? It's kind of like if a hurricane's going to hit and they tell you it's coming, and nobody does anything for it, right? And you get, you're not prepared. They were very prepared. We moved very, very quickly in the process when it all happened. So, yeah, I got actually was the next day basically. I don't know when he officially took the job, but it was Monday. So for me, Monday. I don't know if he took the job the Friday or Saturday before, and then I was in here on that Monday. And Grayson, he stuck around for a while. What ended up happening, which is happening a lot in college football now with NIL and whatnot, there's a lot of universities poaching players, and so they do it. They're trying to do it the sneaky way. They're contacting their NIL agent, they're contacting their high school coach, they're contacting their quarterback coach, they're contacting those people, and they're saying, "Hey, find out if he's interested." And so, as a player, you're not allowed to talk to a university unless you're in the portal. And so I think Grayson heard of a lot of people coming after him, was intrigued, but was uninformed. So he had to get into the portal to find out a little bit more what was going on. So I think that was kind of the intent behind it. And then certainly talking with him, with the experience and the success I've had with quarterbacks over my career, what Coach Trickett's had, the style of offense, being able to talk to him and see what he wanted to get better at. And it just so happened there was a great marriage there, because the things he wanted to get better at, we were doing and can provide for him. And so I think he thought, I don't have to leave to go find this. I have it right here. And so I believe that's been the big part and the big reason of staying, with some of the things that we can provide for him.
Well, I mean, as recruiting goes, that's a pretty good recruit to land when
right.
you begin your head coaching stint at Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? We won't get any recruiting points for that when they rank us, because they're not going to rank that right. Grayson McCall or Sam Pinckney Jr. decided to stay. They won't put those in those rankings for us.
Yeah, but someone sleeps a little bit better. I bet you that.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
All right, so let's talk about the offense, because they play a funky RPO with a triple option type of deal. It is really hard to defend. How much are you going to take of the offense that Coastal Carolina has done, and yet you want to incorporate some of the stuff that you do?
Yeah, I think there's going to be, we're going to still build what our players can do, right, and what they're good at, how they've recruited. And so we're going to take some elements of what they've done, certainly evaluate it, and continue to enhance it and try to make it better. And we all see college football, right? You got to score points to win at the end of the day, right? Defenses nowadays, there's very few 7 to 10 games. There just is. And you look at the college football playoffs, for example. I mean, every team that won scored 50 or 40, right? You had to score those kind of points. So you got to score. You got to find ways to score. And defensively, you can give up yards. You just got to keep them out of the end zone.
All right, let's take a timeout. We'll have more of our conversation with new head football coach of Coastal Carolina, Tim Beck, right after this. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From football to basketball to soccer and esports, we've got it all. BetOnline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, such as Locked On Sunbelt, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, more with our conversation with head coach of Coastal Carolina, new head football coach, Tim Beck. All right, so we're talking to Tim Beck, head coach of Coastal Carolina, not new joining to the Sun Belt. All right, so what is your day-to-day? You get the job, right? You got to move, so you got to move the family there. At the same time, besides Grayson McCall, you got to get the recruiting going, and you have to evaluate your players at the same time to see who can help us moving forward. How do you spend your day doing that?
Yeah, it's been I don't even know what day it is right now. I
Right.
don't. I mean, literally, I have to ask every day because every day seems the same right now. I get up running, and I go to bed when I fall out. Basically, yeah, you're trying to be around your players right now. We started school Monday, so we're already in school. So we're trying to be around the players. Or going through the off-season program. We're trying to implement all that. We're trying to get to know their names and evaluate them. Because when I got the job, I was here for like 2 weeks as they bowl practice. School ended, right? The week I got here, it was finals. It was finals week. And then there was some bowl practice. We let them go home for a little bit. Then it was to the bowl game, played the bowl game. They went home. And so I'm trying to hire staff, evaluating staff. I get here, I'm trying to learn players right now. I'm trying to continue to hire staff, support staff. I'm trying to hire. We're trying to have recruiting weekends. We had recruiting weekends when I was here. We had the old staff and had recruiting weekends with the old staff that was here, with me being the head coach. And basically, I was the only guy recruiting, like for our team for next year. And so I was doing all that. I was on the road a little bit, recruiting, trying to go see some of the guys that had committed to us. That were mid-semester guys. You're right. Portal, trying to talk to guys not going into the portal because I'm a new coach, getting to know me. So I had individual player meetings. I met with about 85 of the 100 guys during that time, one-on-one meetings. So it's again, and evaluating and trying to just keep afloat right now is what I'm trying to do. So it's been good though. I'm really pleased where we're at this point.
I think, if my memory serves me right, Coastal Carolina was one of the few teams that actually finished spring ball when COVID hit. They were already done with early practice. Is that something that you're going to do again, where it's early, or do you decide to go a little bit later? How are you setting it up for the spring?
Yeah, we have to go later. We signed 6 to 7 players at the break. And so what we're going to end up doing is hitting the road harder in January, where sometimes you're kind of done with that early signing day. We're not. We still have 13, 14 guys to go get. So it's going to be a grueling time during there. And then February, we're going to get back together as our staffs and start implementing our offense and defense, start teaching it to the players. And then from there, we're going to start spring ball probably the end of February, go through March, and end it at the beginning of April.
Well, there you go. All right, so it is actually a little bit earlier than most of us here in the SEC anyway. And even South Alabama is feels like it's mid-March into April. All right, a couple more minutes here with head coach Tim Beck of Coastal Carolina, Locked On Sunbelt. How do you go about getting a new staff? How does that work out? Is that just connections? Do you put an app on an ad on LinkedIn? How are we doing that?
So I did learn one thing. After 500 text messages, you don't get the little blue dot that says "read me." Like it's an unread. After 500, it stops. I did learn that. Yeah, it's been a lot of it's connections. It's people I know. You're an assistant coach for 30 years and you're preparing for this and you're planning, and you got guys that you feel like along the way that you've met that, when I get an opportunity, I'm going to try to get them here. Now it's got to work, right? By location, by position, by, finances, all those things have to tie together to be able to get your all the guys that you want. But I tell you what, I'm really pleased with the guys we brought in. They're great men. They're great role models and leaders, and they got a wealth of experience. They've won and they care about kids. So I'm really excited about our staff.
Yeah, I had Jared Clark on, the nose tackle. He's coming to the Senior Bowl. Somehow, Coastal Carolina a few years ago swiped him from under my orange. I don't know why you'd want to go to the college, near the ocean compared to 5 feet of snow, but that's Jared Clark. What can you say?
That's right.
So, I mean, how do you use? You got the facilities. You're in the Sun Belt. Coastal Carolina's got this great reputation. It's had a great few seasons. How can you use something like the ocean to your advantage?
Yeah, all of it. balling at the beach, right? I mean,
Right.
that's our motto, right? Definitely do that. And, you got to have fun. You got to remember it's still a game. We make it bigger and more, we just idolize it so much as fans that it's a bunch of kids playing football, and they've been doing it since they were probably 5 years old, playing pee-wee, where their pants went down to their ankles and the shoulder pads were too big and the helmets were too big. And, back in the day. Right. And so we got to remind ourselves what this is still a game. It's a game played to represent your university, your student body, your family, your friends, and your football team, and your teammates. And so that's part of our job, is to coach that, mentor that, and go out there. And certainly having the location we do, we're able to hit a lot of areas because of that. There's a lot of vacation people that come down to Myrtle Beach. And so, and they enjoy it and they like it. And so they equate Myrtle Beach with great weather, great food, great people. And so they want to be a part of that. And so just think, you can go to school here and get it anytime you want. My daughter did. That's why she picked it.
All right. So let's wrap it up here with Tim Beck, head coach of Coastal Carolina. Let's actually talk about the football, because for the last few years, and though it's changed because of some new additions to the Sun Belt, but a lot of the quarterbacks were leaving. As of a few weeks ago, right? Coastal Carolina was looking for a new quarterback. Georgia Southern was looking for a new quarterback. James Madison looking for a new quarterback. All right. Marshall has their back. He's a young one, Cam Fancher. But I think Georgia Southern got somebody in the transfer portal, but that's a new quarterback. App State, we'll see what they do. You guys got Grayson McCall back, and we'll see what James Madison does as well. But it feels like you obviously, a little bit back up at top because of what Grayson McCall can do, but it feels like that East may be a little bit more wide open than it had been in the past.
Yeah, it's hard to say because I hadn't been here, right? So I know that every single one of those football teams are quality football teams, well coached and play well. You have to beat them. They're not going to give you the game. And that's the exciting part, that every day you get a chance to go out there, and every Saturday you got to play well to win. But at the end of the day, if and when you do that, you're the king. And so you have a great opportunity at that point to go on to the conference championship, and who knows from there, right? With the college football playoffs, the way they're developing, the way they're going, why not Coastal? Why can't we be that team that makes it in there? So, we're shooting high and aiming high, and we're working hard right now. So we'll see where it ends up.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, if Troy doesn't lose on a Hail Mary to App State and it's a 12-team playoff, right? They may have been in there. And obviously the Sun Belt's a lot of fun. They had those 3 teams, Marshall, App, and Georgia Southern, all beating Power 5 teams on the same day. And then, I don't know if you've seen it, you've probably been too busy, but that Georgia Southern App State game is going to go down in history, that double overtime game in Statesboro as an all-time classic. And you got these young and up-and-coming coaches. These guys are making it difficult for you. Coach John Summerall won a conference championship in his first year. Charles Huff's going to a bowl game in his first year. These guys are making it tough.
Yeah, no doubt. And John's a great coach. And we played against him when he was at Kentucky and I was at NC State. They do a great job defensively. And he did exactly what he felt like he needed to do to win. Play good defense, control the ball, don't turn it over. And that's the big key in this conference, right? You got to score points to win. You got to protect the football.
Tim Beck, head coach, Coastal Carolina, Locked On Sun Belt. Really appreciate your time. Congratulations on becoming a head coach, and we will see you down the road. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right, special thanks to new head football coach with Coastal Carolina, Tim Beck, for having a sit-down chat with us. We sincerely appreciate it. I think that East is a little less wide open than it was, a few weeks ago, but we shall see on what Tim Beck wants to do offensively versus what they've done before and what Grayson McCall can do. Again, that's an odd, RPO with a little triple option in there as well. I do want to tell you about a delicious treat. By now, it doesn't have any fat in the calories. You got to try Built Bar. We just got through the holidays, and I know my goal is to eat a little healthier this year. If you're like me, where you want to eat healthier but don't want to compromise taste, then, man, I've got the thing for you. You got to try Built. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. Seriously, they're so delicious, you won't think they're good for you. Perfect for your New Year's resolution. What makes Built Bars so good? Well, for starters, they're all covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like candy while maintaining amazing macros. And what's even better is that they are healthy. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream. Cookies and cream. Double chocolate or coconut puffs. If you're close to Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter, and churro. You can thank me later. I will go to Sam's. I'm out of the protein shake, so I'll pick up Built Bars, and I will report back. Okay. Again, special thanks to Tim Beck, head football coach of Coastal Carolina, for sitting down with a chat. All right, let's talk about a few of the basketball games. We won't go over all of them, but you had some really good ones. The main event of the night did not live up to the billing. It was Marshall and Southern Miss, and Marshall with a rout, by the way. Marshall takes down Southern Miss 89-67. They pulled away, and they led 37-29 at half, and they outscored them 52-38 in the second half. So Marshall and Southern Miss on ESPN2 on Thursday night. It ends up being a thundering herd blowout. And now they're hosting Old Dominion. Marshall hosting Old Dominion on Saturday, and that game is sold out. And so Marshall all of a sudden looks to be a little bit hot. We did have 4 ball games that all came down to the last possession. Georgia Southern beats App State 67-65. Jalen Finch had a layup at the buzzer, giving the Eagles the victory over App State. You had you had Coastal Carolina. Linton Brown actually was fouled trying to take a 3 with 7 seconds left to go. I'm going to have to look for a replay to see if he was. But it was 66-64, Old Dominion at home. They've only lost 1 game up until tonight, and then they go down to Coastal Carolina as Linton hits all 3 free throws for a Chanticleer 67-66 victory. Texas State, another Texas State close ball game. That's the way they play, 61-58. They play fantastic defense and then, force you to play defense all 30 seconds. And then, God forbid, they get an offensive rebound. They're going to play defense for another, 20 seconds at that point in time. But a 61-58 Texas State win over Arkansas State. The Cajuns end up blowing out Monroe 86-73, a game that was never all that close. Cajuns had a 17-point lead at halftime. Jordan Brown had 21 points to lead the Cajuns. Didn't think I was going to go through all of them, but I will. Troy beats Georgia State 65-53. Troy's now won 4 straight ball games, all in the Sun Belt after dropping their first game at Southern Miss. They've now beaten Texas State, Old Dominion, Arkansas State, and Georgia State. They will be on the road to App State coming up. The ball game that I was at was the South Alabama James Madison ball game. Didn't realize this. Craig Stevenson, AL.com, pointed out James Madison was number 2 in the country, averaging about 86 points a ball game. Second in the entire country, averaging more than 86 points a game, and they did not get that against South Alabama. 63-62. Jaguars had to hang on in a big way, had double-digit lead in the second half and could not hang on until the end. It was an odd ball game because James Madison's this high-powered offense and got out to like a 6-0 start, and then South Alabama goes on a 9-2 run and doesn't look back. The only lead, the last lead that James Madison had in the game was 8-6, and they just couldn't quite get it done. A couple of weird plays that happened more than once. Kevin Samuel had not the biggest of all statistic ball games. Like we've seen him with 16 and 13. What did he have tonight? He had 8 points, 9 rebounds. He did have 5 blocks, but he also had 6 turnovers. He had a massive block on a fast break coming from behind. He had a massive, basically game-winning block at the end. But he seemed to affect a lot more inside. than just accumulating statistics. The thing was, though, he had some killer turnovers. Twice, he grabs an offensive rebound and looking to throw it to somebody on his own team. Unfortunately, he turned it over twice, throwing it to James Madison, and they come away not only one time with a layup, but the second time with an and one. And then they're up by one, they being South Alabama. They get a tipped ball on the first chance with like 7.5 seconds left to go for JMU. And Samuel ends up with a basketball, but he falls down and travels. I guess it would be better than throwing it away. But then on the ensuing play, he comes up with the block, and South Alabama improves they get the win 63-62. They improved to 8-9, 2-3 in the Sun Belt. James Madison's all of a sudden lost 3 ball games in a row. Isaiah Moore had a little bit of a tough night, struggled in the second half, still finishes with 16 points. Turbo Jones, he had 10 points. You had the kid, Jamar Franklin, come off the bench, hit 3 threes, and he had 11 points. It was really him as a big point in the ballgame. And Judah Brown actually hit a couple of threes as well. So you did have some offense where you're not used to getting it with the South Alabama Jaguars, and that's a big win. They welcome in the Cajuns, and they are going to be a handful on Saturday at 3 p.m. All right. Want to thank you very much for tuning in to Locked On Sunbelt. Special thanks again to Tim Beck, the head coach of Coastal Carolina, for hopping on. We will look forward to recapping the weekend's action from basketball. We also did have a chance to talk to Jared Clark, the defensive tackle, nose tackle from Coastal Carolina on the radio show. We'll put that on the podcast here on Monday. Want to ask you to have a fantastic weekend. I want to thank you very much for listening and watching. I'm your host, Dave Schultz, and this is Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.